Hi there. I recently hosted my first ever Nexty Media event in New York with my partners at VuePlanner, during which we talked to folks from across the creator meets media meets brand ecosystem. And so this week, we're turning highlights of that gathering into a special bonus podcast episode. We've got tons of insightful comments from the likes of Luma's Conor McKenna, Ian Schaefer from Assembly, Jamie Goodfriend of Creator Vision, Ali Parrish from Horizon, and many more. We even talked to a real-life creator. So lots to get into, so let's get started.
When I decided to do this event a few months ago, I was thinking, you're seeing so much attention all of a sudden around the creator economy has got a lot of attention for a couple of years, but really, like, all of a sudden brands are really realizing this is a huge space that they need to be in a bigger way. And you start seeing like all these other folks coming into this space realizing we've got to try and figure out how to accelerate this process. And you start seeing some of the huge brands saying we're going to spend half our budgets on creator advertising. And my thinking was, man, that's going to be challenging. Is the space? You would always say things like, could you actually spend $50 million in creators really quickly or not? Do we have the infrastructure? So that was kind of the thinking. And then just in the past couple of days, the IAB is putting out a number that the creator sector is going to grow to $37 billion this year, and Agentio just raised $40 billion. So I think we're good. We finished it. We figured the industry out. We're all done. We don't need to be here. But no, yeah. So thank you. Well done. But no, so it just seems like there is so much momentum in the space, but so much to figure out. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here, and I'm very thankful to my partners at VuePlanner for helping go on this journey with me and decide let's do an event together and see how it goes. And they've been super up for anything. And so thank you both to John and Amy, and Scott's not here. I need to thank Jamie Goodfriend, who has been instrumental in getting a lot of you folks here and just helping put some fuel behind this event and get us started.
Free alcohol.
Yeah, that's burgers, alcohol. You said I'll fly in. Let's do it. So I hope this goes well. I've never done an event my own before. So far, so good. You came. That's pretty good. I'm going to start with, we're going to try and blaze through a lot of content quickly because I overschedule this. We're going to make it work. But we're going to start out with, we're going to take our macro view of the space. And I'm going to call up Conor McKenna. He's a partner at Luma. And Zoe Soon, who's the VP of the IAB Experience Center. I'm going to stand to the side. You guys have a seat.
Can you grab the microphone?
Well, yeah, there's the microphone. Where is the mic? You got it. Okay, you guys want to have to...
in between us.
Yes, all right.
Back and forth.
So, Conor, I'm starting with you because you kind of inspired a lot of the thinking here, because when you had an event, Luma had an event back, I think it was May, sort of talking about, I think people have always wondered whether does ad tech have a role in this space, or is it inherently difficult to bring technology to something that is seen as so custom and so... It's all about creator authenticity, right? So, and you were kind of saying, hey, maybe this is the moment where the industry can make some more waves and bring more dollars in a smoother way. So that's a long way of me asking, how are we doing on that front? What were you thinking then? Have things accelerated in the right direction?
Yeah, I think, so just for frame reference, so I'm a partner at Luma. We're an investment bank. We focus on M&A in ad tech. So I've been in advertising technology for 11 plus years, and all the stuff that lets shoes follow you around the internet, right? And where is there opportunities to build scalable, addressable advertising and the technology behind it? And we advise those companies. So we're always trying to think about sort of where's the next avenue or the channel, start CTV, mobile apps, et cetera. And if you look at the open web, I mean, frankly, there's big challenges there. So there's almost like an existential, where's the next big media channel? And if you look at time spent of consumers, amount of media, I mean, obviously there's always been a ton of time spent on walled gardens, Meta, Google, et cetera. The challenge has been for ad tech is that they're controlled, right? So great. Meta makes all the money there. Google makes all the money there. The thing that I noticed and where I think there's an opportunity is those have shifted, right? Meta used to be a social platform. It's not a social platform. 7% of time spent on Instagram is with friends or people you know. It is an entertainment platform. Mm-hmm. So as that becomes an entertainment platform and you've got things like Shorts and Reels and TikTok all blending, these become competitive. And so that opens up a dynamic where tech can now come in and sort of step in to sort of manage across it. And if you look at where technology can capture margin in an advertising framework, it is always where is there fragmented media. So is the supply fragmented where technology can come and make that easier for marketers to buy across? what is more fragmented than the creator ecosystem where there's, what is it? The quantum of all of TV added to YouTube a day. So there's massive amount of fragmentation. The challenge is, can you find a way to actually apply, capabilities to that to address it that doesn't have to go through YouTube? Now, I think there is still a huge opportunity for the walled gardens, but increasingly with ad tech, both I think it's existential as what's happening to where time spent is going on and what's happening with the open web as it relates to, AI and navigation and all the rest. And two, there's just a massive opportunity. That is where consumers are spending their time. That is what's influencing their decisions. And now that there's sort of competition, the walled gardens go from walled gardens to distribution platforms, and that's where technology can step in. So I think that's sort of the framework. Where do I think we are? I mean, almost nowhere. Like ad tech is, I'd say there's been obviously a huge opportunity. The creator space has done very well on its own, but it's been very manual in my view. It's sort of the earlier agency days. The technology ecosystem has to come in, and they're starting to. But it's
so is it that the walled gardens are a little bit more opened up, or is it that the ad tech companies are like, I don't know about the open web, I need to shift to something else, and I need to rethink about how I define what's.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I don't know. You'd say the walled gardens have opened up. I mean, they understand that creators are critical for them and that their creators are balancing across different things. They don't want to be tied to just meta metrics. And so that challenge opens up like, hey, there's technology that can start to make margin there. We are seeing that whether it's, in the creator space or just optimizing meta spend better, is getting better sort of across the board. There's more margin there than I've seen in the last decade.
All right. By the way, people can ask questions and jump in while we're talking here. Like, it's Christmas Eve, we're all together. Let's just feel free to, we're a family. Zoe, from your point of view, you and I talked about this when we had our prep call. I think you were in a cab. I was at a train. It was like really the quickest prep call ever. But yes, but there is a total recognition, right, of the importance of this creator space. I guess there's the question from advertising, where to put it, how to fund it, and like the disconnect. You talked about the disconnect between maybe like the folks that control the big media budgets and how to execute things. Can you kind of expand on that thinking a little bit?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Zoe. I run the creator and gaming verticals at the IAB, so a lot of industry work. I think where advertising is, Unilever went out and said 50% of their marketing spend is going to sort of creator-related things. As you mentioned, we're about to have an annual ad spend research come out on the 20th, and it's shown that creators growing 400% faster than the average of digital media. So
that's great. Like
so advertisers are like there, and sort of like as Conor said, we're trying to catch up. The issue is that brands are seeing creators as like these Hollywood storytellers, but then wanting them to perform like programmatic ad units. And there's a massive disconnect. So we don't have the infrastructure, the measurement's not there. It's in different teams. It can be in the PR team as opposed to the media buying team. But I think, three things are really driving it. The collapse of traditional media and just like Gen Z, just not on those platforms where you can find them. They're very ad avoidant. Creators have this amazing trust and relationship that they've sort of like nurtured and got with their audience.
Right.
I think G today, COO of WPP, was saying, people like me, there's like a lot of people like me relationships. And then the third thing is built-in distribution. Like you just can't beat that scale. I think you were saying like the quantum amount of TV going into, so those three things are really driving advertiser interest.
And this is something that I saw a panel during Advertising Week, which it was interesting. There's a little bit of, you mentioned how this bubbled up from PR, at least the early influencer days, and now it seems to be the domain of either the social agency or the media agency. But there's one brand was saying, no, I think this should be coming out of the creative department because some of the creators are so integral to what we do. Is there any kind of uniformity that we could expect? Is that possible?
That's what we're aiming for, to have one supply chain that has standard processes and, teams that communicate. The goal is to close that gap between.
Right.
Yeah. Go.
Please.
I think the other aspect is the creative and the media buying agency are collapsing anyway, or need to, together, as in like they're merging. if you're to look at, Meta performance advertising anyway, like you now have to upload 50 creatives at a time, and then Meta chooses what works.
Right.
And so, yes, creative needs to be part of it because you're asking creators to often make the creative that then, drives the spend. But you need to, the goal is, okay, get a bunch of creative that works and let their algorithms decide what's actually going to drive outcomes in business performance. That's the goal, is let that engine work. And on the other side, you need to be able to scale the sort of creative, creation by accessing a lot of creators. The challenge before has been, you've got to guarantee that spend to all of them before you know what works.
Right.
This is where the sort of opportunity is heading.
It's interesting because this is happening at a time when there is so much exuberance around AI and so much hype, but the ad community is wrestling with handing over so much of their control in advertising to algorithms and big tech companies, which seems kind of diametrically opposed to this whole authenticity, realness of creators. Are those things going to be in conflict, or can they work together? I don't know if either of you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, look, I yesterday interviewed Mark Darcy, who's the chief creative officer or CVP of creative for Microsoft AI. Really big marketer. He was the chief creative officer for Facebook for over a decade. And he had this great point around just, humanist AI, right? And the focus on that. I don't think you lose any of that. The aspect here is, how do you go find niches with lots of creative that's personalized to each of those audiences? I mean, if you're Unilever, right, and you've got one of their soap brands, I'm going to mess up which is P&G or Unilever right now, so I'll keep it there. Why should you and I see the same ad or same creator if we are using completely different audiences? That's the opportunity. That doesn't necessarily lose the authenticity for me or you. It's just creating scalability in a differentiated way. And so you can use, maybe AI in that case. I don't think AI for all the creative is the same. He has this great line, like Mediocrity is free now with AI and creative.
Right.
You can't get that with a creator, right? So you can still have that sort of, that own impression. Just how do you scale that? You need to have an engine on the back end that's not sending you and I the exact same creator just because the scalability was there if we're going to react to different creators doing the same ad.
So we one of the things that came up, you guys had at a conference call today talking about the forecast you're putting out, and it feels like I've heard people say that right now brands are jumping into creator deals, almost not totally sure that it's almost not that they're doing it on a whim, but they don't have a very standard way of tracking success yet. Whereas so much of the rest of the industry is gone hardcore into outcomes or everything, and everything has to be super trackable. I wonder if creator integrations can ever get there, but do we need some kind of like GRP for this industry, or something that is, or some version of the click-through on a search ad where there's a standardization of how we evaluate these deals, or is that just never going to be possible?
Yeah, we did talk about that today.
Yes.
I think there are different metrics that go with different goals. So if your goals are top of funnel, then it's obviously going to be reach versus conversion. The research study that we're about to put out says a lot of the data that brands are using to assess campaigns comes from first party. It's the tried and true answer of like, you need the apples to apples, but it would be nice to have something that captured the essence of creator that goes beyond just time on screen, right? Engagement is such a blunt metric. Just time on screen, it doesn't really capture the comments, the brand.
You don't want to reduce creators to just another place to get reach. Like that's
exactly. That offers
part of it,
more.
right?
So I would love to see us get to a place where we have, a universal metric that sort of has the apples to apples. But I question whether we can do that based on the different brand goals. And
Also, I think the platforms aren't incentivized to make that possible, right? The asymmetry of information is to their benefit. It's why they've done so well. Now that actually we move from to reels and shorts and stuff, it's even harder on YouTube for creators to make money because the rev share is very different. And you actually rely more on creator tools. They don't, TV relied on the GRP and Nielsen, and yet if you ask anyone on TV, they hate it now. Right. So, I don't think those distribution platforms are incentivized to try to make that happen. At the same time, that's where technology can come in and move on top of it. And again, it moves to its performance and optimization. I don't think, pure reach and frequency is exactly where we're going to. And are you going to be able to tie your reach on Meta to your reach on TikTok? Probably not. I think relying on that is
that's an issue regardless of creators, right? That's just difficult.
Yeah, where they're not going to share enough data back where you can, match across what's working. Now, can you see, hey, we have this list of people we want to, sort of exclude on from targeting on Meta and exclude from targeting on TikTok? You can do tests and manage it that way, but it has to be fed into the monetization engine. It can't work if you're just doing it through organic posting. Right. And so that's sort of that merging of the creator spend with the monetization engines that I think unlocks a lot of the scalability here.
I guess last question for you both. Is it a good, kind of related to that, is it a good or bad thing? You're seeing YouTube in particular they've gone back and forth between how involved they want to be in brokering creator deals. Now they seem to be leaning into that. That seems like it's good for the ecosystem, but I don't know if makes it harder for third parties to come in and kind of play that role. Or is it fine that, there's a lot of different ways into this world, or does that make it more complicated?
Yeah. Okay. Selfishly speaking, I think not good, because the less they're involved, the more there's room for third party technology. But I also don't think creators want it. A good example of this is less about YouTube, but actually, Meta acquired a business called Customer that was meant to be like a CRM for creators. They got a lot of pushback. People did not want Meta managing all of their emails and relationships, because creators are not, singular channel. Even if the YouTube is their primary channel,
that feels like they're giving up too much to one channel.
Or they use Instagram or their sort of organic reach, and they funnel them down to YouTube. I don't think people want to give that control up to any of those platforms. So if they can help facilitate that, hey, if you make those deals, we can make it scalable, that's interesting. But I don't think they want them involved in the direct negotiation.
All right.
I think I agree. It's just cross-platform is really interesting for creators. So
yeah.
Sorry.
Zoe, how many people said that they consider a creator a must-buy in the study?
Over 50% of US buyers, Jamie.
There you go.
It was second only to search and social. So, yes. And also, Chris Brutally, here's my research partner. He ran the research for us. So if you have specific questions, feel free to hit him up.
Terrific. All right, Conor, Zoe, thank you so much. You can start us off with this great perspective.
Thanks again to my partners at VuePlanner and all the folks that attended my recent Next to Media event in New York. We have lots more to bring you, so please hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time for more on what's next in media. Thanks for listening.